Welcome back. The U.S. Army has recently introduced First Steps, an initiative campaign designed to empower young Americans as they embark on their journey towards service. This initiative is built upon the notion that American youth do not necessarily need to possess complete clarity right from the start in order to make a substantial impact. Joining us now is the U.S. Army Major Sam Winkler. Major Winkler,
Hi,
thank you
thank
so
you
much.
so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So, to start off, can you tell us a little bit more about the upcoming First Steps campaign and its significance in showcasing the journey of young Americans who want to join the U.S. Army?
Sure, I'd love to. So, the First Steps campaign is just our invitation to American youth to take a chance and just think about what a life in service would mean. The experiences that you would have, the community that you could be a part of, the purpose, the motivation, just the excitement and the experiences of being in service. We're just asking you to think about the service and take a chance on us. Take a step.
Of course. And can you tell me a little bit about what this initiative means to you?
Sure. Yeah. For me, I just think it's a really great representation of what the Army is. That, you don't have to have it all figured out, that you can just take a step, right? Just try something new and see where it will take you. I know as a young person, I was really interested in experiences. And that's something that you will gain if you think about joining the Army or join the Army, is that there are experiences bigger than you that you never thought were possible. And it's just a fun experience.
Right. And so the campaign emphasizes that young Americans don't need to have anything figured out from the beginning to make an impact, right? So, how does the U.S. Army encourage individuals to take that first step toward their goals, especially when considering a career in the military?
I mean, I'll just use myself as an example. I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. Right? I just happened to be at a college fair and wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do with my life. I saw a recruiter who looked a lot like me. She was young, she was of color, and she was short. I'm really short, I'm about 5 feet 2 inches. And I just, until that moment, never even realized that service could be something I did. So I joined as a paralegal. I did that for a couple of years, and I actually realized that I really enjoyed it. So I took advantage of, one of the many great programs the Army has, and I went to college through the Army, and I came back as a second lieutenant, and I've been here ever since. And I actually just hit my 17th year in service.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, can you tell me a little bit about how the U.S. Army ensures that the stories told in First Steps reflect the aspirations and values of the younger generation?
Sure. I think we're just trying to show the younger generation that the Army is something that you should truly be a part of, that, we have these rich heritages and traditions, but that we do truly have a place for everybody, right? Whatever you're good at, we probably have something for you to do. I think young people and Americans in general don't realize the many different kinds of jobs we have in the Army, and that if you take a step towards us, that we can probably really take your experiences and your talents and utilize them in a way that will really fulfill you and, again, give you some experiences that you just never thought possible.
That's amazing. And you gave us a brief overview, a little bit about your journey. Can you just tell me a little bit more about your interesting path to the Army? You achieved so many firsts along the way. Tell us your story.
Yeah, so I've got to do so many things with the Army and have so many experiences. The one I'm probably most proud about that's recent is that I've got to play a huge role in making changes for our parents in the Army through some true grassroots efforts. So a couple of years ago, I was working at the Pentagon, and I had this incredible opportunity to fly around and talk to soldiers. And during that time, I realized that we had some real policy gaps when it came to our Army parents. And so I went to Facebook, a Facebook group called the Army Mom Life, just to get a little bit more feedback from, soldiers on the ground. And we wrote a paper and we turned it into our Army senior leaders. And it was incredible because they listened. And last year, the Army published a really huge comprehensive update to policy regarding parents. And I think it's made a huge impact. One of the things I really appreciate about the Army is our people. And I think this policy shows that the Army, doesn't want you to choose between being a parent and being a soldier. But that goes illustrate anything, like the Army wants you, right? You and your experiences and who you are as a person, we want you to bring that to the table. And that's something that I really appreciate about the Army and, that the fact that it allows me to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was reading a little bit about your journey as a mom in the Army, and you said that you were basically expected to get back into fighting shape 6 months post birth. So, can you just talk a little bit about something that I feel like we don't mention a lot, which is the expectations to go back to deployment after you give birth or after you have a child? Can you just tell me a little bit maybe about some of the struggles and the challenges that come with that?
Sure. And I think, again, it was just a policy gap, right? Like women
Mhm.
are now 20% of the Army. And for a long time, we weren't. So as we grew in the force, it was just the policy hadn't quite kept up with us. One of them was like the getting back into shape. So when I had my two girls, I had exactly 6 months to the day to be back in my pre-baby weight and be able to do all the physical challenges that came with my job. And I
Mhm.
just don't think that was a realistic ask. So when we bought it up, that was one of the things that our leaders agreed that, yeah, you know what? I don't think 6 months is ready to safely get you back into the fighting shape you need to be in so you can continue to contribute to the Army. So now we get a year after having a baby
Mhm.
to get back into fighting shape. We didn't have a lot of accommodations for lactating parents. So it's just some of these things that I think hadn't been spoken about, and there was just a really big policy gap. And some of the expectations were, I think, unrealistic, and I'm really glad that that was recognized and we've made some changes.
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, they do seem unrealistic. And it's just, every person is different. So you can't necessarily expect somebody to get back into that shape in 6 months. So thank you for clarifying that. And thank you for bringing that up because that is important.
Yeah, thank you.
And so, can you tell me a little bit more about your involvement with the effort to improve Army life for parents? The directive on parenthood, pregnancy, and postpartum. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience in that project?
Yeah, it was a really great experience. It's like I mentioned before, we started on Facebook of all places, right? Which again, like when you think about the Army, you're probably not like thinking, yeah, we can go to Facebook and Twitter to make change. But it was really awesome to hear from soldiers, to hear from families, both men and women, telling us, hey, this isn't working for me, and I really need something changed so I can be a parent. And it was a great experience. I got to collaborate with so many talented people, most of whom I still call friends, most people that I still now talk to. And it was just, if you know anything about bureaucracy in the Army, it takes a long time to make change, right? So this policy from start to finish, from the grassroots effort on Facebook to policy, was about 18 months, which is really fast for the amount of things we changed. But yeah, it was a really great experience, and I'm truly proud of what the Army's done in this space.
That's so great to hear. And now people might be surprised to learn that a group of parents in the Army could drive such a dramatic change? So, can you tell me what else might surprise our viewers about the Army?
Yeah, I mean, I think viewers know that the Army is just a part of Americans, right? We're just Americans who choose to wear a uniform. But I think sometimes we forget that we're just regular people as well. I'm just a regular person, right? A mom that I really enjoy cooking and I enjoy shopping and I'm really into makeup and skincare and all these other things. And I think sometimes people forget that that's all we are. We're just regular people that I have friends who are great medical providers or who work in the cyber field or who get to do some really great jobs. And myself, I'm a human resources officer. So I think sometimes people forget that we have kind of day-to-day jobs, but we happen to serve and wear a uniform, but we're just regular people.
You know what's funny? My dad was actually in the Army as well, and he used to say, he's like, it's a 9 to 5 with a uniform. So, and he very much had those same, I guess, ideals and around being in the Army. So, as we wrap up, can you just tell our viewers where can they go for more info?
Yeah, thank you. So, for any more information or to just consider thinking about joining us, please go to goarmy.com. And I think you'll find some great information there. Think about it, take a step, join our community.
Major Winkler, I want to thank you so much for this informative discussion.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. For more information, you can visit their website at goarmy.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open right after this.